So, hello and welcome to the next part of the Chess Basics series. In the first part we discussed how the pieces and pawns are moving and the rules of chess, and some opening principles we discussed shortly. This time we gonna go over some basic endgames or some basic checkmates and what a checkmate is. Checkmate is the end of the game. Whoever checkmates the opponent's king is the winner. In this case, white is going to win, and I'm gonna play this against the engine, and I'm gonna checkmate the engine now. So let's go with some older version of Stockfish. He is going to be black here in that case, and I'm white. So the thing is, in this case you have to put the king into the 8th rank, into the on the side of the board or in the corner. And yeah, let's see. I'm gonna bring the king because you have to you have to put the king into the corner or on the rim somewhere, and then you can checkmate him. So in that case the king has got this little box where it can move to and where it can move in, and we have to look that this box gets smaller and smaller. So the first step is bring the king towards the opponent's king, and now the box is even smaller, as you see there. Now only this little thing is what Stockfish has left for its king. So now this is the only thing Stockfish has left where it can move the king. And now there are only 4 squares available for Stockfish. You have to take care of stalemate. Stalemate is something where the king is not in check but cannot move, and you cannot move other pieces as well. This would be stalemate then. So now Stockfish goes into the corner. So now if I go here with the queen, then it would be stalemate. I show this shortly. But as you see there, because the king can't move and there are no if there is a pawn here, then it's simple, because the pawn can move and then you can just bring the king closer and checkmate the opponent's king. But okay, let's go back. So now I bring the king closer, even closer. Now I check the king here, check, and now I have to give the king 1 additional square because it's stalemate again. So that's why I move the queen here, and now I bring the king closer, and yeah, it's hard. This stuff is hard to mate the opponent here with which is only a king here left. So now I'm gonna go here. Stockfish has to go back. Now I go there. So the only 2 squares left are those 2 for Stockfish, and it's gonna be mate in 2 moves because now he has to go back, and now it's checkmate. And this is how you mate with a queen. You just put the king into the rim of the board, and then you can mate him. And you always have to take care that the queen is protected by the king. Now we're gonna do the same with the rook. Rook versus king, this is a little bit harder. Rook versus king is a little bit harder. So now let's put a rook there, the king here, and black's king over there, and start this stuff again. So first of all, you have to try and bring our position so that those kings are in front of each other, so that your king is preventing the black king from escaping, and then you give a check with the rook. So the king has to go back then to the rim. This is the basic idea, and let's see how this works. So the engine wants to be white. I don't want... Oh, the engine is black. Sorry. No. Merde. Let's go back. Let's go back. No, this doesn't work. Okay, then I have to set this thing again. So, rook somewhere, king somewhere, and black king also there. White to move. Okay. So, yeah. So let's try this. Okay, rook here. Stockfish's move. Start. He has to move now. Doesn't want to move. Something is wrong. Okay, it should work. So, okay, bring the rook as far away from the king as possible. And now bring the rook back. Because now if the king goes here, then you can give a check and bring the king even closer to the opponent's king even closer to the rim. So now let's see. Same principle. If the king goes there, you give a check. So now the king went here anyway. Now you go here with the rook to prevent the king from going over here, over this d file, and now you go there. Stockfish doesn't make it simple for me. So now bringing the king even closer. Going here, if the king goes there, then you give a check. So now we have this opposition. So now you can't give this check because the king cannot reach one of those squares because your own king is defending this. So black's king has to go here, and it does. So let's go there. Doesn't really matter where to go. It doesn't matter. And now there is only one move left, and now the king has to go to a7, and then the king prevents him from escaping. This is the opposition I mean, and now you can give this checkmate, and this is how you mate with a rook. So those are the basic mates, and now let's go over one game. I want to discuss the opening principle as short as possible now with you. So the opening principles to remember are: bring your pieces out as quickly as possible and control the center, and bring your king into safety. So white does this by playing e4. So now the bishop can move, and black plays e5. Okay, let's put the engine away. I want to do this e5 anyway. So now, for example, knight f3. And the other thing is, if your king still stays in the center, there are many ways. There are many things possible. For example, if black plays f6 to defend the e-pawn, which was attacked after knight f3. The normal move, the usual move is knight c6 or d6 even to protect the pawn. But here, white can sacrifice the knight here, because with this f6, what black did is he weakened this diagonal here, and the queen can bounce onto this diagonal, and also the bishop can come out and attack on this diagonal. So here the only move black has is to play queen e7, and then he can somehow continue that game. But in this game example I show you, which was a game between I think Greco versus some unknown player, the unknown player captured the knight, and then queen h5 check was played by Greco, and his opponent saw that g6 blocking the check isn't working because of queen takes e5 check, also attacking the rook. This is called a double attack, and black would lose the rook. So the only thing which is available to black is to move the king, and now Greco played this check anyway. His opponent played king f7, which is the only move. Greco played bishop c4 check, and now to somehow continue the game, black has to play d5, but in this game his opponent played that move, and after queen here check, only square is that one, and now d4 check with the bishop. The only thing to do is g5, and now h4 was played, threatening a discovered check followed by queen f7 checkmate. So his opponent resigned here. Let's see this, for example, knight c6, pawn takes, discovered check from the rook, check from the pawn, so the only square is that one, and now queen f7 is mate. So this is I'm not sure if h4 was played in that move or queen f7 immediately, because now there is no defense against h4 and h captures on g5 because the pawn is pinned. But I think it was h4 and then something like, I don't know, knight here, check, king there, check, queen takes, and this is, however you slice it, it's going to be a checkmate, because here this comes with check. The king has nowhere to go because the bishop slices all the way here. Queen has to take, and now you can give checkmate over there. So I think this is how the game went, and so let's go with this. So you cannot really go f6 here. So the main move here is, let's follow the opening principles, develop your pieces and control the center. This is what knight c6 does. It does also defend the e5 pawn. And now there are two ways to go about this, two main ways to go about this, bishop b5 or bishop c4. The other moves are either knight c3 or d4. This is called the Scotch game, this d4, and knight c3 is the three knights opening. And let's go with the move I suggest for beginners. This is the move bishop c4, because it's going after the soft spot f7, and if black plays, for example, knight f6, you could go knight g5 to immediately bounce on this soft spot f7, and this is called the fried liver attack, frittierte Leber Angriff. And yeah, black should be fine here, but it's you have to know a lot of theory if you go with this, and you also violated one opening principle. This is, you should never move a piece in the opening twice. This is one rare example where it's okay actually to move the piece in the opening twice, because it has a good reason for it. But okay, let's go with the next opening principle. Just bring the king into safety. Castle. Okay, this pawn cannot really be taken because rook e1 would attack the knight, and if the knight moves, then the e5 pawn would hang. Let's shortly go about this. Knight takes, rook e1, let's go with d5, bishop b5, pinning this knight. So now knight takes e5 is threatened, so let's cover this e5 pawn, and now d3, now the knight has to move, knight moves, knight takes, bishop takes and rook takes with check. The knight cannot move because it's absolutely pinned, because if the knight moves, the bishop would eat the king, and this is not allowed. So this is why the pawn cannot really be captured here. So black usually plays something else, like bishop to c5, also trying to develop pieces and bring the king into safety as quickly as possible. And this position should be around equal, and let's see how often this position has already arrived in the book. It's 49 times in this book, and in the live book, I don't know, live book isn't showing me anything here. I think you have to turn on the engine. So no, let's go with the normal book. So this position has reached 45 times. The main move here is d4. Other moves are b4 or d3. I would suggest d3 because it's not as sharp as d4. But anyway. So this is called the Italian game. As you see there, are opening the Italienische Partie. And this is what I would suggest for both, for white and for black, for beginners. And yeah, so what can I show you now? We went over the mate, the stalemate, pat, and the stalemate or pat is remis. It's a draw, unentschieden. And yeah, so I don't want to play against Stockfish now. I want to play against Monarch 1.7 because it's not so strong. And I'm gonna try to go with the opening principles. And let's see how long I will survive. Here you see the times. I have 15 minutes plus a couple of seconds increment per move. My opponent, Monarch 1.7, has 1 minute for the whole game. So I'm gonna go e4. We have e5, knight of 3 attacking the pawn, knight c6, and bishop c4. So we have the Italian game on the board. My opponent doesn't go for the move knight of 6, but rather goes for the second main move, bishop c5. And now I could go for the Evans Gambit, but there you have to know a lot of theory and a lot of stuff, so I don't want to mess around with that. The point of the move b4 is pawn to b4 is that if the bishop takes, you have c3 and d4, and you control the center, and the queen can go to b3. But I don't want to go with that. I will just continue normally with castling. Now he's threatening my pawn, so I play d3. Just defending it. Now bishop g4 could be a threat, pinning my knight, so I go h3. Now he castles, and now there are a couple of ways how I could continue. Either, oh, I cannot do that. Either I go knight c3, c3, bishop e3, bishop g5, rook e1, but I think I go with bishop g5 here, h3. And I could eliminate this guy over there now. Go knight c3 to d5. But then I lose the bishop pair, and the bishops are a little bit more useful than the knights most of the time. The pawn is 1 point, if you want to count like this. A knight is 3 points, a bishop is 3.5 points, a rook is 5 points, and the queen is 9 points. So this is how you count material, and yeah, h6 is attacking my bishop. If I just go back, bishop e3. Okay. Let's bring the knight to d2. If he captures my bishop, I can recapture with the knight. He went g5, attacking my bishop, but also weakening his king side. I have to go back now and knight here. He maybe wants to go knight f5 when I have to capture this knight anyway. So, but I don't want him to capture my bishop like this to mess up my structure. Although I would open up the file for my rook, so it's not so bad. But what should I do here? Connecting rooks. or doing something else. I want to keep my bishop actually, but I have to eliminate the knight anyway if he comes to f5, because the knight on f5 is very strong. It's more like 3 points, so I'd have to eliminate it anyway. So let's just go back. Knight f5, and now eliminate this knight immediately. F takes, he opened up the g file, so king here and rook there is maybe his idea. But let's see what I can do about this. Okay, knight h2. I want to go to g5. But first of all, I have to eliminate that bishop. And now I want to get rid of the queens. And now we're in this end game. I'm attacking this guy over there now. Okay, can I somehow give this check? If I give a check over there, then he traps my knight. So I have to go back to h2. Now he goes a5. I want to go a4 because then my knight on f4 is kind of secure. Okay, he is attacking this pawn here on c2. So I defend it. Now he's attacking that pawn. Okay, I go here. If it captures there, I can get... Wow, he takes... Oh, okay. Now he forks me. But okay, I have 2 pieces for a rook. So 2 knights versus a rook. But he has 2 pawns. So it's kind of interesting, this position. But my knight here isn't that great. So I should do something. Knight c4 maybe? To not allow him to play d5, because then his e-pawn would hang. So let's go knight c4. Okay, and now g4 maybe? He takes, I take with the king. Yeah, let's go g4, he takes. This is the en passant rule. I took with the king, freeing up the f3 square for my knight. Okay, he goes b5. And now he is attacking my b-pawn, so I'm gonna defend it. Now he's attacking the knight. Knight here. Still going after the b-pawn. Okay, knight f3. I have to bring the other knight into the game. Knight here defending the pawn looks more active, but then d5 takes. Knight takes here. Now he can take there, and he has 2 pawns and 1 rook versus my 2 knights. Should I exchange this? Probably I do it. Now what? Okay, this outside pass pawn is pretty good, but I'm going after his h-pawn. Okay, I can attack the rook. If I take it, he goes a2, and then I have no way of picking up the pawn. So yeah, because if he takes back with the pawn, I have knight d2. This is what I overlooked. Knight d2, and he cannot go b1 queen. But if I just take it, he goes a2, and now I cannot prevent him from queening, so now I can resign. This is what I overlooked in that game. Let's see how long we played theory. Opening book. Okay, this, I think I should have captured the knight here. But anyway, we went with the opening theory, and I now will show you the game from Black's perspective. The ideas Monarch had, or the calculations Monarch did. The ideas behind it, what I can take from this game. So this is kind of normal stuff. d3 still normal. d6, h3, castles, bishop g4, and h6. And now I should have probably captured the knight. But I went with bishop h4, bishop e3, and stuff like this. Yeah, opening up the g-file was quite interesting. Queen h5 immediately, preparing king h7 or king h8 and rook g8 with the mate threat. So that's why I eliminated the bishop and went for the queen exchange, because now he had to exchange queens, or I would exchange queens, because he cannot move the queen somewhere because the queen is pinned. And so he captured, I captured, attacking the h6 pawn. He went h5 attacking my knight. I went back a4. The idea of a5, I don't know the idea, but I had the idea a4, so that my knight is secure on c4 and he cannot kick it with b5. This was my idea, and now he went with this move. If I had foreseen that move, I wouldn't have gone for that a4, because this is a terrible move to meet actually, because it just threatens the c-pawn, and I cannot really move the c-pawn because then the d-pawn would hang. So I went here, rook f to c1. He went there, attacking my b-pawn, and I forked him, and now he captured there and forked me. This is a cool tactic, attacking the king, attacking the rook, but he gave up 2 minor pieces for rook, which you probably should never do. But if you get 2 pawns for it, you can do it. If you get only 1 pawn for it, you shouldn't do it. In that case, it was kind of smart, because yeah, this endgame is now very hard. Knight c4, rook b1, rook b8, and now yeah, this is what I overlooked. This idea is pretty nice. Here, ace, after this I shouldn't go there. Okay, I cannot go here because the pawn is covering that square. So, but this, he doesn't have to move the rook. He can just go a3, because if I take, my idea was that if he takes, then he is lost, because I have knight d2 preventing him from queening, and I have an extra knight, and this pawn is not going to go anywhere. And I can just pick up that pawn, and then I have a runner. But, and this is the thing, he didn't take it, he just continued with that move, and then I resigned, because there is no way of stopping him queening. This is kind of nice, but okay, I hope you learned something out of this game. I did. So, okay, this was the Italian opening, and thanks for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.